Great, thanks. Cool. So thank you, organizers of MIT Energy Hack and Avangrid for being here today. We're Team DERection, and we're very excited to share with you our model for future T&D utilities. So, yep, this is our agenda, and I'll quickly introduce the situation. So the distribution business of T&D is changing rapidly from a unidirectional model to a multi-directional model. So there are many new requirements for the grid. And especially with decentralization and DERs, there's a lot of operational and financial challenges. For example, load balancing is a big operational challenge, and a big financial challenge is potential expensive storage infrastructure that needs to be invested in. And yeah, so our solution.
It's clear that business model will need to change for grids, and we believe that future grids will operate as digital energy connectivity platforms. So what we mean by that is that you basically have a core platform that functions almost like an app store. It's super accessible for consumers, and it allows easy integration of third-party hardware like smart meters, home batteries, solar panels, electric vehicles, and so on. The benefit of this is that you can do really good data collection and storage at a central place, do great data analytics, and then do sort of next level grid services with informed data decisions on top of those. What are the benefits of this? Again, beyond what I just said, it's that you have amazing customer service. The experience is much improved. Your grid services will be better informed by data, so you're able to make better predictions, but also you can store capacity from EVs more effectively, and you can do really comprehensive load balancing. Also, you're working very beneficially together with third parties, which is generally a positive thing. So how will this actually make money? We believe that the core business model doesn't really change that much. You're still charging grid users for a fixed fee, right? For just general grid connection with some of these smart home management features. On top of that, you're going to be having variable fees for transmitting energy to a grid consumer and for transmitting energy away from those that have solar or other generation facilities. We also were considering third parties fixed fees if you want to put your app on the platform, but that's something that you can very much debate. Going beyond those direct revenues, there are even more benefits like additional revenues from increased customer attraction and retention, and then savings from reduced infrastructure costs, reduced labor costs due to automation, and then generally better load balancing also means reduced blackout risk. In terms of financial modeling, we think it's very difficult to do this effectively and really estimate how future cash flows will go, but we conceptually think that there's a very high initial investment, which we've here put at 100 million. And after that, the key thing to take away is that you need to scale this platform, right? Leaving aside whether it's 2028, 2026, 2025, you just want to scale very hard and get to a break even fast.
Yeah, so with our product, we kind of identified 4 main consumer groups, both at the individual level and the commercial level that range from people who have both battery and solar to people who have neither. And we found that every group really does benefit in some way from this platform. And so doing a bit of a deeper dive into our no solar, no battery group, this Granny Smith, so to speak, consumer will not have to bear the cost of subsidizing DERs just because this consumer is not contributing on her own to the grid. But instead, this consumer will benefit from a mandatory smart meter that, if needed, can be subsidized by the government and can then help with load scheduling. So that, for example, if Granny Smith is a commercial level consumer, a store can run their fridges at night to average the load rather than concentrating it at peak hours. And our platform facilitates that by letting the third-party fridge manufacturers make grid smart fridges that can work with our software.
Right, and then quickly going over the go-to-market strategy that we have to bring this idea to life. We've chosen Orange County, New York to pilot the program initially for 3 main reasons. One is a large amount of aggregated rooftop solar, both now and projected in the future. Second is a strong potential size of battery storage, so that means the system will be able to be supported with storage capacity. And finally, natural solar strength of Orange County, just based on its geographic factors. And for a timeline for this, we're planning to test and iterate the MVP with 500 friendly users in 2022, and we believe that rollout to Orange County can be done in 23, and then expanding to New York, and then finally nationally. And again, just highlighting the importance of scaling this platform in order to see the benefits of those low marginal costs and seeing stronger financial returns.
Thank you.
Thanks.
one question about the storage. Can you go to the slide before, please? This one. You speak about battery storage and electric vehicle. Which is the proportional between electric vehicle and classic storage batteries? You use both at the same time? We use just one? Have you studied about that?
Right. So we saw battery storage as both electric vehicles and traditional battery storage because in our ideal future state, they would be used interchangeably in the system to store electricity at different times. So yeah, that was our justification. And the number we have there is just for EV sales per capita. And yeah, we saw that there was a strong growth rate there based on the projections or the math that we did.
Okay.
So for DER owners, what is their compensation for, providing benefits to Granny Smith?
Right.
Yeah, I think that their main benefit is that they do get some of their transmission is covered by the solar that they are receiving themselves and using to save their own energy. And then ultimately the idea is that because the utility is providing a service to them by taking their excess solar and feeding it back into the grid, that's kind of distributed through the utility back to Granny Smith. So it's kind of like if they want to sell their energy back to the grid, like they do get like the slightly, they don't have to facilitate that process themselves. The grid will take care of it. And so that's kind of the deal, I guess, in this case.
Okay, can you talk a little bit more about sort of traditional value streams for DER owners in a market like New York, and maybe how that compares to the value streams you seeing existing once this digital marketplace exists? You touched on it a little bit in that answer, but I wonder if you can compare it.
Yeah, Martin, do you want to follow up at all on that one?
Sure, I can jump in here. So I think, for the traditional DER owner, they will benefit widely in the current system just by, selling energy back to the grid. And if you compare that to our current or to the proposed setup, I think that the real benefit is mostly around customer experience, right? You can imagine that, currently it's kind of a hassle to connect into the grid. You have like very weird billing. It's just like, it's not fun to be a DER owner and go through the financial aspects of it, especially if you're at a small scale and you just want to do this on the side. In the future, we see this as just much more smooth of a process, right? So it's easier to integrate. I think the sort of core financials of it, like you're feeding back power to the grid, those won't change drastically. But from just like an experience point of view, it's much improved across all areas.
I'm interested in the concept you mentioned of third-party access to the platform and potential additional value stream through that. Can you sort of talk a little bit about what you're thinking there, if you have an example of what that might be?
Right, absolutely. So let's say you're a fridge manufacturer, right? You want to be hip and cool and really sell your fridge out there to all those people that are interested in smart appliances, right? It's kind of difficult for you to go beyond, milk is in my fridge and the milk is running out. What you might want to do is be able to interact with the overall grid and say, well, when should I turn on and off to minimize the overall load on the grid, right? Energy conscious consumer might be interested in something like that, right? And if your consumer is interested or your buyer of your fridges, you probably want to offer that service to them. So the key assumption is here, consumers want green products. The producer of the fridge will want to fulfill those consumers' need. And so then they will probably want to interact with your platform. Does that answer the question, or could you, do you have more follow-up on that?
Yeah, I think that's a good example. And actually, I know there is a smart meter company that has sort of an open source smart meter that allows for third-party application development. So I think that idea is not so far out of the realm of reality,
Right, and I think the key thing here would be able to make this very accessible, as you're saying, right? It has to be a very accessible API for lots of different appliances, right? that you can then like automatically integrate. So you want to like shove some of the development cost and some of the like thinking to the third party so that you just, you know, have a standard input that you can then very easily again scale.
Time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
everyone.
Have a nice day.